Hey guys, so we've been getting comments and likes on some of the reaction videos. So the producer thought it was a good idea to just put a few reactions in front of me, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I think. So he says it's 18 clips. I don't even know if he counted them, but here's the first one. The hidden context, international Jew. Don't read, just hit play, right? Cause just like well, shit, Jewish history in America. At least I know the topic, guys. I won't read the thing.
Christopher Columbus and some hidden history from the International Jew by Henry Ford. Did you know in 1492 more than 300,000 Jews were expelled from Spain and came to America? Then it gets a little deeper when you find out who owns all the social media, and then who also owns the tobacco industry, the cotton industry, the banking industry, the theater, the newspaper, the radio, and then we can clearly see who owns the government as well. Now someone's going to come in there and say, oh, this is anti-Semitic. That's the same thing you always hear, so that you don't question what's actually happening in your country. It gets deeper when you find out that the pioneers of LGBTQ45, same people. And a lot of people don't know this is going on because these people are always changing their names. Phoenicians, Venetians, Khazarians, Bolsheviks, Zionists, Communists, and it goes on. And someone's going to ask, why were they changing their names? Well, because if you tracked it back to slavery and you found out who actually brought the slaves, it kind of gives you a different story. Really gives you a different story, that's for sure. Then it gets deeper when you find out who did the first plastic surgeries, so that people can blend in. Then it gets deeper when you talk about Palestine and the takeover of that with the Rothschilds, same people. And the whole Palestine thing connects back to the Rothschilds, who were the bankers who then control everything, including the schools. And this is why in school, things like reading the Bible, praying, celebrating Christmas, gotta get rid of all that. Then it gets deeper when you find out who brought in all the liquor and all the drugs, and also made people into drunks during the Great Depression because the same people caused the Great Depression. And this book was written in 1921, so we have been hijacked for a long period of time, especially when all the media and the newspapers and the radios are owned by a small group of people who control everything, kind of like what we see today. So on that note, here's some things you might want to look into, and also maybe why we gave another country $133 billion when they've been lying to us the entire time. I don't know. Have a great day.
Okay, guys, so there's a lot going on here. I'm probably gonna obviously have to do a deep dive on Jewish people in Israel because I've come across stuff like this on X, and there was just a lot in this one video, so I won't even be able to touch on it all because it was just so much. I would have had to stop during each part and respond to each one. But basically, what he's saying is he's talking about the people in America who are now considered Ashkenazi Jews, and he went into the history of what they've done in America, what they're currently doing. He went back and traveled back to when they were Khazarians and Phoenicians, and he called them communists. There's a bunch of different names that he's saying that this group of people have used throughout history. There's probably a lot of truth to that. Over the course of time, there's different names for these various groups. I'm not quite sure why he's calling the Jewish people communists. They probably were some Jewish people who were communists, but I'm not sure that communism as a whole just is based upon many or multiple Jewish people. But I will look into it because it's something that he said. He brought up the slave trade. Yes, Jewish people have continuously been involved in banks, whether in the Middle East, and then they connected with people in Britain. So that's where they got connected with the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds, who I'm assuming weren't even Jewish at first, became Jewish. So I say all that to say that I do understand that there's like a connection between the money and the banks and the media, because for one, the Jews are handling a lot of things as far as financing in the Middle East, and then when they got with the Rothschilds, they began to work with the Western world, and Britain at one point was one of the big powers, and America is basically an offset of Britain. So if America is now running the world, that's coming from British roots, and those British roots have some ties now to Jewish people because the Rothschilds ended up claiming to be Jewish themselves with the Balfour Agreement, I believe. Don't quote me on that because this, again, is not a topic that I'm super knowledgeable about. The producer wants me to keep these short because this is going to turn into a deep dive, but I definitely think that many of the things that he said in this may be true. What I will say is that there are other people other than people who are Jewish who are involved in all of these things. And I would also say that he was trying to say that it's a small group of people and they're Jewish. But if you look at the test scores, some of the reason why you may see disproportionate amounts of Jews doing various things and having ownership or having high skilled jobs is because just like Asians, they test well. So if one was to say, if you look at medicine, why is it that Asians are 5% of the population, but 20% of the doctors or 15% of the doctors? Well, if they're performing well in that field, that is probably why they overrepresent. So the same thing could be true as Jewish people. If they're performing well, they're highly intelligent, and they have a history of being involved in banks and finances, that's probably why they're in the position that they're in. Let me go to the next clip, and the guys is 18, so hopefully we can get through all of them, because as you guys see, I go on and on and on, sometimes ranting. Nick Fuentes on Trump administration, okay.
Well, listen up, left-wing scum. In the second administration of President Donald Trump, Heritage America is back. We're deporting every criminal illegal alien, and we're also going to work to deport anyone that supports Hamas and Hezbollah, anyone that gives support to Iran, and the terrorists, anyone that's anti-Semitic, anyone that denies the Holocaust. And it's like, wait a second, is this the same person? Wait a second, it's like you blink and you miss it. I thought you were white. Now all of a sudden you're rubbing your hands together. Where did that hat come from? Now you have a small hat on your head. This is our country. That's the Trump administration. You're being sold fascism, and then you read the fine print and it's just Jewish fascism. Well.
I think I speak for most black people and many Jewish people. So Nick is a real funny guy. It just sucks that he's anti-Semitic and racist. But the point he just brought up about Donald Trump is true. Trump ran basically on being America first. He ran to help the working man. He ran on deporting illegal immigrants and people that they consider not part of Western values. Then ever since his assassination attempt, not to be part of any conspiracy theories, but Trump has had an about face to some extent, and it does seem that he's more in line with the traditional politicians who are in line with Israel and AIPAC. So Nick was just making fun of Trump, saying, you promised a lot of things, but you aren't coming through with what you promised. You're more so coming through with the things that it seems like Netanyahu and Israel wants. Going on to the next clip. Okay, there's a theme going. It's a lot of Jewish stuff. I'm not anti-Semitic, guys, so I'll see if I can turn some of this stuff positive. That last clip, though, I just have to agree with Nick. It does seem like Trump is doing Netanyahu and Israel's bidding. But the first clip, again, I wasn't sure about all that, so I have to check it out.
We think we're the chosen people, which, by the way, we are. And we're not embarrassed to say. We are elitists. We think of ourselves as better than them. The Gentiles, they're not God's children. What can we do? God selected us.
There is one God. This God creates nations. He gives all nations the same rights. The idea that there are two kinds of people, those with rights and those without, this capitalist hypocritical idea will be destroyed. God did not intend for a few small races to rule over 2/3 of the entire world, while their own people lack resources and other nations starve.
Okay, the producer's not gonna like this, but I'll say this. In today's era, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's AI, but what I did see was a Jewish guy talking about his race is supreme. We can't have that. So again, if the Zionists are saying their race is better than all the other races, or their religion is better than all the other religions, I can't vibe with that. So it's fuck the Zionists. If that's what they're saying, I'll have to look into it. Then also there was what sounded like Hitler saying that you can't have one race ruling over the others, which is what I just said. I haven't done much digging into Hitler, so it did sound like him, but I don't know if that's something he actually said or not. So that's the only reason I brought up AI, guys, is to say that I'm just responding to what I saw. So what I saw was a Jewish person saying something great about Jews and negative things about everybody else. So that's inaccurate and false. And then I heard Hitler saying positive things about the other groups as a whole. He didn't say anything against blacks. He mentioned something about Jews, kind of insinuated it, but he didn't say Jews were less than anybody. He just said they aren't better than others. So again, based upon that short clip, what Hitler said I was in line with, but that's just the clip, guys. I'm not for everything Hitler did, at least in terms of what I know of him. But I will continue to research him because in the first clip that we saw, it was saying that a lot of the information that we get comes to us from books and things that have been influenced or that are controlled by people who are Jewish. So I pay attention to everything, guys. That first clip is kind of saying the reason I think what I think is because I was fed certain information. This may or may not be true. I would just have to look into it to try to find the truth for you guys. That's why this show is called Critical Commentary with Maurice Williams. But if you guys look closely on the logo, it says The Pursuit of Truth. So I don't know everything, neither do you guys. So if anybody does stumble across information that's pro-Israel, anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, Hamas, pro-Gaza, anti-Gaza, pro-America, anti-America, right? America, I'm American and I think the American values are great, but there may be many things that the American government does that's negatives. So if you guys, whatever information you guys find, positive or negative about the various races, religions, etc., send it to me because I want to be well informed and I want to also be able to inform other people who may not know. Now on to the next clip. I don't think everything's going to be about religion, guys, but these first four have been. This says in 1941, the Germans forced, and it looks like a Catholic person. So let's see what he's about to say, possibly a priest.
In 1941, the Germans forced us to dig a long, deep trench. And after we did what they wanted, they brought a group of Jews and threw them into the trench. And the Germans ordered us to bury them alive. These are the Russian prisoners, we firmly rejected this disgusting act. The Germans ordered us to take the Jews out from the trench, and they threw us into the trench instead of the Jews. And they ordered the Jews to bury us alive. We were shocked when the Jews began to bury us without hesitation. The Jews almost covered us when the Germans stopped them and pulled us out. And we were surprised by the German commander who shouted at us, "We wanted to show you, to prove to you who the Jews are. They are ungrateful, merciless, and without love."
Okay, so I don't know if you guys saw the confusion look on my face, but it looks like there are three groups involved in this: Russians, Germans, and Jews. So what it looks like is it's saying that the Jewish people were willing to harm the Russians, but the Russians weren't willing to harm the Jews. And so that was surprising to the Germans, but the Russians said they knew that about the Jews, so they were just trying to highlight how the Jews behave. I'm not sure about what they're discussing in this situation. It might be something about the Bolsheviks, because I think I've heard that the Bolshevik situation, the Bolsheviks themselves may be Jewish, so maybe the Jewish people did something to the Russians. Again, don't quote me on this, guys. I'm just going off things that I believe I've heard. So that's that situation. It's not confusing anymore, but I thought it was just two groups, and now it's discussing three groups. So I'll go on to the next clip, and I'll have to some kind of way I'll have to take note of all of these clips and then find a way to go research some of this stuff, because just these four clips is talking about a wide range of things, and I don't know a whole lot about all of these different topics.
How many white American Christians are in your government?
I don't think there are.
Well, there's a lot of Israeli Jews in our government. That's the main point of contention for most modern white Americans.
So what's your point with all those questions? Like, where are you going to want to get?
I don't want my country to be affiliated with your country in any capacity ever for the end of time.
What's the reason behind it? You think Jews control America and Israel?
That's obviously true.
Yes, okay.
The end goal is to facilitate the birth of the Antichrist. You already killed Christ.
Bro, that was 1,000,000 years ago.
2,000 years ago.
Bro, yeah, 1,000 years ago.
Am I supposed to just forget about the death of God?
Yes, you have to care about it, but for a better future, you have to forget it. I mean, not forget it, like, accept it.
I accept it, but okay, this is very simple. What if your better future is incompatible with my better future? Why should we be allies then?
So if we are not allies, what's gonna change in your life?
The changes would be so immense, it would be difficult for me to articulate it using language, actually. It would create a significant pocket for Americans to be able to create a country in their own interest, free of the interference of Zionist Jews. Yes, absolutely.
In which ways?
You want to go down the list?
Yeah, I would like to hear.
My country, I believe, is a white, Anglo-Saxon Christian country. I don't want Jews in positions of power. And their influence is so pervasive. What they're doing from their point of view makes sense. Everybody wants their people to do better. But what I'm saying is that at the most fundamental level, it's incompatible with the collective interest of my people. And we see that demonstrated in so many different ways, whether it's the news, the banking system, the pornography industry, the entertainment system, the fact that so many of our congressmen and women have dual loyalty, APAC. I mean, the list is so extensive, it's difficult to actually consolidate it in just a conversation.
Yes.
I think we have zero reason to trust any of you.
That's your choice. That's your choice.
It's honestly, it's not a choice. It's a rational reaction to pattern recognition, and it's sincerely. It's nothing personal against you as an individual. You've been very respectful in this conversation, but I believe that we are at the most fundamental level incompatible as human beings.
How many?
Okay, guys, so after this one, I might take a quick little break. There's a bunch going on in this clip. So for one, they started off saying that most of the politicians are over. I believe he said most of the politicians are Jewish. I don't think that's true. I think he asked like how many of their politicians are white, because he's trying to say over there they don't have many white politicians, but here we have a lot of Jewish politicians. So I'm not sure if most politicians are Jewish, but I do think many politicians are receiving money from APAC. So I get what they're saying from the standpoint of APAC has influence, but so does Qatar now, so does China, so do a lot of places. A lot of countries have influence over the American government or with the American government. So I think they went too far by saying the politicians themselves are Jewish. They may be, but I'm not sure. I'll just have to look into that. Then also, I believe they started talking about, he also said that it's a white country. Well, America's kind of diverse, right? So there were East Asians here first, but they call them Native Americans. And then at some point, the Anglo-Saxons, which are the Northern Europeans, Anglo-Saxons is important because that doesn't even really count the Spanish people. That doesn't really count the Southeast, Southeast Europeans. So he's basically trying to say that America is a white country and it should stay white, but I think it's diverse. I think we have Hispanics, we have blacks, we have East Asians. So therefore, I don't necessarily agree with the way he's framing. I do believe that Anglo-Saxons are a big part of American history. The British people were some of the founding stock for the United States of America. But again, the ideals of America when they were set out by the founders stated that they were okay with immigration, that they wanted to set up something that was different from a monarchy, and they wanted to protect all people's inalienable rights. So part of what America is accepting and respecting people of diverse backgrounds to an extent. It doesn't have to just be diversity within skin color or race. It's diversity of religion, right? So the founders could have set up a Christian government, but they purposefully did not set up a Christian government. They set up a government that they said was under God, but they didn't want to tie the monarchy or God to the government. So my only thing with some of these Anglo-Saxons, some of these white supremacists, some of these people in the conservative movement who are trying to push Christianity down people's throat and trying to say that's a founding part of the American history. It's a founding part, but it's also something that sorry guys, it's also something that the founders were trying to separate from the government. So again, I think if we're going to tell the truth, we need to just tell the whole story and not just be pro-white and forget some of the other aspects that the white founders actually put in themselves. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.